I had Mike Pantile reached out to me. So when I was in Italy, he came and hosted. He co-hosted with these guys, and I guess I didn't watch the full episode, but I guess him and Nick got into a little bit of tension about the Latin Mass or something maybe. And Mike reached out to me the other day, and he goes, "Hey man, I just want you to know Brian Holdsworth's been taking me and trying to help me in this community, and he's been really like helping me feel more at home at the Latin Mass. And I don't know if my eyes were ever open to that perspective before. And I think that alone, right? So maybe if there isn't the hierarchy doing those things, like there is a different role for us as laity now, where if you see a new guy come into the parish, like maybe it's up to us to go make that guy feel more at home, try to teach him some of the things that he may feel out of place doing, things like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we could talk about Latin Mass, but let's just bracket liturgy here for a second and just talk about like faithful, vibrant Catholic communities. Because when my family first went to the Latin Mass, it was because we were just looking for orthodoxy, right? And in Canada, and especially my diocese, and I just published a video about this, so if people want to hear a little bit about my own perspective that led to these decisions, maybe check that out. But like things are especially bad in my archdiocese with regards to fidelity, with regards to liturgy, with regards to a lot of our institutions. And, my own parish was just succumbing to all of those influences. And so after having some pretty bad experiences in my own parish, we decided to go check out the Latin Mass, hoping to find our people, basically. But we were reluctant. We had heard all the stereotypes about Latin Mass goers and about how intolerant they are and how unwelcoming they are and how rigorous and rigid they are. And so we were like, we're walking in there with our brood of kids who have never been to a Latin Mass, and are they gonna misbehave? And we had all these concerns. And immediately, again, setting liturgy aside, our experience was, first of all, a smaller community, which we appreciated because it just meant you could become more immersed in the personal relationships that are available there. But a community that was so intensely focused on what was happening up on the altar that nobody cared at all about what was going on in the pews. If your kids were a little bit restless, nobody was really paying attention unless they were like screaming and like hitting people. But otherwise, I mean, that kind of atmosphere was fairly highly tolerated. And then the next thing I noticed, well, it wasn't I noticed, it was the next thing I experienced was that immediately after Mass, other young families came up to us and approached us and were like, "Who are you? You're new. This is exciting," and greeted us. And aside from the people whose job it is to wear name tags and greet you awkwardly when you enter at the Novus Ordo, you won't experience that at my former parish. You won't have people going out of their way to come and greet you and to make you feel welcome. And it's not out of some obligation to be welcoming. It's out of a sincere love for your fellow people and perhaps a bit of an evangelistic zeal for people when they walk into a church when they're unfamiliar to the people who are already there. And that continues. So that community, which we're now very committed members of, has grown probably 3 or 4 times the size that it was when we first started attending it. And still, like, new people will appear, and I will sometimes, I'm not a very outgoing guy, but I will take it upon myself sometimes to try and greet people and say hello if I notice that they're new, especially because I'm somewhat recognizable within the community. But long before I ever get to them, there's already people who have surrounded them and are sort of like, "Hey, who are you? Nice to meet you." And it's that atmosphere that I think is probably the most attractive thing that people like Mike are often missing out on. So Mike's coming back into the church, and he goes to the closest church he can find, and his wife's enrolled in OCI. They call it OCIA now, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's been a good experience, because obviously going from no faith and no sacraments to the faith is it's a step in the right direction. But then we had Mike and his wife over for like a Christmas dinner during the Christmas season with a few other families that attend the Latin Mass with us. And I think it was just an exposure of sort of a level up of what you can get in terms of community from people who are really serious about following the Lord and about loving one another in community and in culture. And my impression from Mike, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but my impression from him was that it was a really good experience for them, and I think encouraged them to want to come and check out our community when they have the opportunity.
Yeah, this is so Nick, don't worry, we're going to lead into Ordo Amoris. I promise we're leading into Ordo Amoris, and you two could go off on Thomism in 2 seconds. So I'm just kind of leading it up to that, but I see like the tendency, especially with guys who are a little more established going to the traditional mass, I'm leaving liturgy out of it for the most part on this, but guys who have been Catholic longer, when they see a new guy come in, especially a guy on fire for his faith like Mike is going to be such a good guy to have on the roster. It's like, I hate seeing guys jump down a guy like his throat and start hitting him with all these things. It's like, slow down. Like, the guy is just coming back. Like, slow down. Catholicism is so fractured right now. We're having Taylor on Thursday, and what I think I want to do with Taylor is go through all the different tribes and factions of Catholicism. I'm talking everything from your left Cath to your charismatic to the sedevacantists. Like, I want to go through every single faction of the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. Everybody claims that they're Catholic, right? So when you get a new guy like that, we really do have to be a little patient with new converts. Don't hit them over the head like they're idiots, because this is like, let the guy learn the faith. Let him soak in the tradition a little bit. Let him learn the church fathers and the history and all that, and slowly bring him into a loving environment where he's like, we have to make real Catholicism attractive to people, especially new people.